Hello guys, welcome back to another video. And this is the NBA this is an NBA video. We're gonna do the NBA playing predictions, and then we're also gonna do like a recap of the regular season. So yeah, I think this is our first NBA video of this season. So yeah, just in time for the playoffs. And then yeah, we're gonna be doing we're gonna predict the play-in today, and then based on what actually happened. So the play-in is on Tuesday, and I think it ends on like Thursday or Friday because there's like six games I think total. So after that we're gonna react. We're gonna give our thoughts on the games. I'm gonna react to it, and then we're gonna do the NBA playoffs, like the whole bracket prediction. So and we're gonna predict our winner. We did this last season. You can pull that video up. I had the Lakers winning last season, and obviously they were a first round exit. But yeah, we're gonna try and do better this season. Hopefully, my predictions are better. But yeah, we're gonna do the play-in first. And like yeah, let's say I do get them wrong, then we're just gonna go back in on Friday or something when I release the playoff prediction video, and we're gonna predict the whole playoffs. But yeah, as you guys know by the title of the video, we're doing a recap of the regular season. I did put the MVP candidates on the thumbnail. So yeah, we're gonna discuss who I think the award winners are. There's most valuable player, most improved player, defensive player of the year, coach of the year, and yeah, we'll get to all that. I guess we'll get to that now. I'll do rookie of the year first. Rookie of the year. So I think rookie of the year is between Cade Cunningham. It's clearly between Cade Cunningham, Scotty Barnes, and Evan Mobley from Cleveland Cavaliers. Suns are good. Yeah, Suns are the best team in the NBA this season. As you can see, look at their record, 64-18. You can see. I'm sharing my screen. You can use that for reference. But yeah. So yeah, like I was saying, there's Scotty Barnes, Evan Mobley, Cade Cunningham, and for the last few months, I've been firm in my rookie of the year, and I think that's Cade Cunningham for me. I think he's been scoring the ball so well. He's a playmaker. He has height too, so he can rebound the ball. And I just think he was the best player out of the three. A lot of people are saying like you can go either way with this. In my opinion, you can go with Mobley. A lot of people originally were going with Mobley, but then he got injured and all that. And then Scotty Barnes, I think Scotty Barnes has a legitimate chance because you could say he can do literally everything that the other two can do. He can rebound, he can play every position, all five positions. But I still have to go with Cade. I think just the last few months, just he was on fire. The Suns obviously, I mean the Pistons obviously didn't make the playoffs, but I just have to go with Cade Cunningham. After watching him a few times, I really think it's him, and I think he's a really bright future in the league. And the other, and you can't go wrong picking the other two. Like it's so close. This is the closest like race I think we've had in a while. Like in a lot of these awards like are like pretty like close to each other. Like MVP obviously as we know, but yeah. So that's that. Let's go to most improved player. I think there's like Maxi. There's I need to pull up the candidacy in, but I know like uh Jordan Poole is a candidate for sure. He had a breakout year. Even John Morant, I think, is a candidate. But I think I don't know. I want to go with Maxi because he was. I feel like I'm missing someone. Oh yeah, Darius Garland, Anthony Simons, Dejounte Murray, who was a first-time All-Star. Darius Garland, and then there's Jordan Poole. I want to go. For me, it's between like Maxi. I think it's between Maxi, Poole, and Garland. And I really want to go. I think I have to go with Poole because he's like the third like splash brother. Like there's Stephen Clay, but then there's him, and he's gonna be a future NBA All Star in my opinion. He started to rise last season, and but this season he's been insane. He's averaging like 18 points. I don't know. I don't know if that's exact what I just said, but he's averaging like like pretty good amount. Obviously when Curry went down with the injury, he's been starting. He's been playing the point guard position, and for a young player to do that for the Golden State Warriors, like that's pretty good. And he's just been playing so well these past few games, and throughout the whole season. When Clay wasn't there, Clay missed a lot of the season. The first few months. So when Clay wasn't there, Jordan Poole, he was playing probably even better than Clay when Clay returned. But Clay's finally finding his rhythm. But Poole really was playing well, and he obviously went to the bench when Clay joined. But yeah, I think Poole is my most improved player. And yeah, defensive player of the year, and I think that's Rudy Gobert again. I mean, I think he led the league in blocks. He's leading the league in rebounds. And just he's so good. Just the reason the Jazz are just not good, and I mean they're good. They're a playoff team as we know, as we can see. But just he has no other defenders on his team. It's literally just him carrying the defense. Without Gobert, I don't know what they would be. I don't even know if they'd probably be like a playing team, maybe ninth, 10th seed because of Donovan Mitchell. But the rest of the team just doesn't play defense, and I think that's why they lose games. And I just think and this would be like Rudy Gobert's um third or fourth player of the year, but Maxey should win. I think Maxey, I mean, he was good for like a run of games. Just I don't think the consistency was there. I think Jordan Poole was just better, but I think Tyrese Maxey was in my like top three, like I said before. But yeah, he definitely like I think he's averaging like 18 points, 19 points. So his scoring took a big jump. And same with Darius Garland and John Morant. Even John Morant, even though he was a star last year, like yeah, and then I'm not talking about Anthony Simons. I think he had a really good year as well. But yeah, and then we have oh yeah, we're gonna save MVP for last. What am I missing? I think I'm missing Coach of the Year. And I have to give that to who's the I have to give that to either I think I have to give that to Monty Williams. I mean, he led his team. I mean, look at that record. 2 years in a row. He didn't win the Coach of the Year last year. Tom Thibodeau did from the Knicks, but I think he Monty Williams deserves to win it this year. Uh, I really do. But yeah, because I mean, 60. He led the team to the finals last year. Now this is their best record in NBA history, 64-18. Now they're trying to win the title. But I've seen people say Taylor Jenkins. I think that's the coach of the Grizzlies. He is definitely a candidate for Coach of the Year as well, in my opinion. Because as we know, we've seen them with John Morant. They're definitely a contending team to win the NBA championship. But without John Morant, I mean, they were like 20-2 without John Morant this season. They were 20-2 without him because he was injured quite a bit. And that young core that they have, he's really developed it, I guess. And they beat the Phoenix Suns like a few weeks ago with no John Morant, no Jaren Jackson Jr., no Steven Adams, no Desmond Bain. Like that's all their key players, all of their starters basically were out, and they beat the Phoenix Suns who had all their players. And so he definitely deserves credit. And he's taken that young squad to the second seed this year, as you can see there. Um, and yeah, I think he deserves that. Let me look if I'm forgetting any awards. Um, uh, yeah, I don't think I'm forgetting anything. Um, because now we're about to get to MVP. So yeah, okay. So MVP we have Giannis Embiid and Jokic. This is like I've not even like decided who it is. Like I'm just gonna have to decide right now. I'm gonna talk about it right now, and I just have to decide right now because Giannis, they were all so dominant this year. Jokic showed us he's probably one of the best passers in the NBA, maybe even one of the best passers of all time. Being a big man, the offense runs through him. He gets the ball like on at the top of the key. Posts up kind of and just like flips it to another teammate and then they score. And he can obviously we know he's a good scoring ability and he can rebound the ball really well and his defense is pretty good. So Jokic, I think definitely. I mean, I think for the last like 2 weeks I've said for like a week ago I was saying Jokic. This week I've been saying Embiid, and then I was saying Giannis at one point as well. So I've said all three. Embiid, he's the only one who out of the three that doesn't have an MVP yet. His scoring performances have been insane. He just won the scoring title actually, 30.6 points per game this season. He wins that, and then I mean that's just a case why he should win the MVP. Um, he's so dominant. Probably they're calling him the most dominant big man since Shaquille O'Neal. And I think he's the first center to win the scoring title, since Shaquille O'Neal. So yeah, and he can shoot the three. He can basically do anything. He basically, yeah, scoring wise. And then yeah, defensively he's a pretty good. He's pretty good. Blocking the ball. And yeah, and then we have Giannis. Giannis, two-time MVP already. Defensive Player of the Year candidate in my opinion as well. I think this season. Um, yeah, he can do, as we know, he's probably one of the most dominant players in the game as well. I think he averaged 30 as well, but he fell short of the scoring title because he didn't play the last game against Cleveland, but which was yesterday. But yeah, I mean that doesn't matter. I think he definitely still is a candidate, and I just still don't know who to give it to. I wish I could say it was a three-way tie, but it's just impossible. I don't know who to give it to. Um, I've been on. I was on Embiid like by a month. I don't really start to make an MVP candidate like in my head. I don't really start to think of one until usually February or March. So in February and March, I was Embiid. I was definitely Embiid. Um, and then for the last, I no no, I wouldn't say that. I would say in February I was definitely Embiid, and then March, like half of March, I was definitely saying Embiid as well. Then the last half I was saying Jokic, and then like the first, I think last week I was like Giannis or something. Giannis had another like one day like Jokic or Embiid would just go off. And then another player like Giannis would just score like 45 or something. So I don't know. I feel like I want to give it to Embiid. I think I'm gonna go Embiid. Just what he's done with the Sixers. Without him, they wouldn't be as good as they. He's pretty much carried the Sixers this whole entire year. And he did win the scoring title. He won the scoring title. And I think he got the Sixers to the fourth seed with how James Harden isn't playing well at all. He isn't playing well at all. They did have those first few games that went really well. But since then, like I mean, he's not been great at all. And Joel Embiid before Harden came in, he was really carrying the load with Ben. This was his first one of his or this was like since like 2016-17. This was his first season without Ben Simmons. So, it was all on Embiid this season. And he carried them and he got them the fourth seed. They kind of collapsed in the end and fell back to fourth. But, James Harden, he's not playing well at all, like I said. And Embiid has just carried them the whole way. And I have my doubts with the Sixers in the playoffs. As you can see there, they are playing the Raptors in the first round. So yeah, Embiid is my MVP for now. It's not going to change because the regular season is over. So we'll see when the awards come out. That's obviously, I think this season's going to be after the playoffs. Yeah, we'll see what happens with that. I don't think the playoffs impact what happens with the MVP. But yeah, Jokic, I mean, he can definitely win it. And Giannis, I could definitely see winning. Giannis should get MVP. Yeah, he was really good this season again, coming off his NBA title win. But yeah, those are the awards right there. That's just my opinion. And so we were gonna recap the season, so that's one part of it, and then let's look at the seeding. So we have the playoff teams right here. Um, we have Miami. I don't know what's gonna happen with them. Brooklyn is the 7th seed, so I don't know. I think they'll be. Oh, we'll get to that later. But with the Nets, they're definitely a threat for these top seeds. You know, yeah, like I just can't believe that they're in the play and how they fell in there. But yeah, the Heat were a great team this season. Like the East, I loved watching the East. Every Eastern Conference matchup was pretty entertaining. Some were blowouts, yeah, but there was a lot of good fun teams to watch. It was really tight at one point in the season. Seeds 1 through 6 in the Eastern Conference were like 6 would be one game behind one. That was at one point. Like one time the Cavs, they were like 6 or something and they jumped up to 3. The 6th seed, like the Bulls or something, jumped up to 1. It was crazy. It was really crazy. And Boston actually finishes second. And at one point, I want to say in January, I think they had a losing record, like 22-23. That's what I heard. And then they've lost only like 6 games since, and they've locked up the 2nd seed. So yeah, Jason Tatum, he's a top 10 player in the NBA in my opinion. Jaylen Brown, that's a good duo right there. I think let's see what happens with them in the playoffs. But yeah, the Celtics, they made a huge comeback. The Bucks, they were consistent throughout the season. There's the Bulls. They were really really good they came like straight out firing. They were really good in the beginning of the season until the mid season, and then they kind of to drop off. Lonzo Ball got injured, and that's a huge reason why I think they've started to drop off. DeMar DeRozan was making a case for MVP. I think at one point, he was, and then they kind of started to lose games. So I think, yeah, I feel like DeMar, and Levine. I don't know what they're. I don't know. I mean, that's a tough matchup against Milwaukee, but yeah, but they need Lonzo back. I think he was really a key part of the team, and it's showing. They don't really have that much creativity. Lonzo, he brought defense to the team. He was a great perimeter defender. So yeah, that's a big loss, and I think that's they're really missing him right now. But yeah, and then we have the West, I guess. I mean, as we know, the Suns, I think they're the favorites to win the NBA championship. I'm not sure. I'll get to my pick later, but 64-18, that's a really good record. Um, and I could definitely see them coming out the West. I think they are the favorites, but yeah, and then we have the Dallas Mavericks, who actually got 52 wins on the season. That's really good. I think, yeah, Dallas, I mean, they were struggling at one point, but Luka really carried them. They obviously traded Porzingis off to the Wizards, but Luka, he's just such a good player. And I think he's the best. I think he was the best point guard in the league this year. I can't think of someone who was better than him, to be honest. And people are really sleeping on him for like, I mean, I think he's an All NBA first teamer, to be honest. This year, I think he is, but yeah, and then we have the Warriors. The Warriors had highs and lows. They started out really well. They were like 20-2 to start the season, and then 53-29. That's a pretty good record. But like, Curry, he did miss this last last few weeks of the season, and then he did have a slump in the season. People were saying MVP, MVP. He broke the 3-point record, obviously, as we know, and then kind of dropped off after that. But yeah, the Warriors, I mean, I don't know. This is going to be a very entertaining playoff series right here. Nuggets Warriors. I'm excited to see. I think Curry should be back for that. And then we have the surprising Memphis Grizzlies, who had an amazing season. Ja Morant, what a player he is. And just that young core. Desmond Bane, he really improved this year. Jaren Jackson, Steven Adams, he's a really good veteran leader for that group. They just got Dylan Brooks back a few weeks ago. So that's going to be an entertaining team to watch in the playoffs. So very like throughout the season, Ja Morant, he's probably the most entertaining player to watch. I think this season he definitely was. But yeah, definitely. So yeah, we're gonna get on to our play-in predictions now. We kind of talked about all the teams, and yeah, now we'll talk about the play-in teams, I guess. So we're gonna start. So tomorrow are the 7-8 games. So tomorrow will be Nets, Cavs, and Timberwolves, Clippers. So it's gonna be those are two fun games, very entertaining games. Um, and I'm excited for this. But so we're gonna get to Nets, Cavs. Now the Nets, I mean, I don't even know. This has been such a weird season for them. Started the season with Kyrie obviously not playing. He came back later in the season. Now he can play full time. He can't play full time because they lifted the vaccine mandate and all that. And then they obviously traded they obviously traded James Harden, who didn't want to be there, and that was a really good move from them. I mean, look how he's playing now with the Sixers. He's not playing well at all, but they got Ben Simmons back. I don't even know what he's doing. He hasn't played yet, and which is like I don't know. I don't get what's going on with him. Really weird situation right there. And I don't think he's gonna come back for the playoffs. I think maybe he'll play next season. We'll get to see him hopefully, but yeah, Ben Simmons, that was a trade. And then they did get Seth Curry and Andre Drummond. Seth Curry and Andre Drummond. Those are two really good pickups right there. And I think that was really good. I think the Nets won that trade. Now that I look at it, I think the Nets won that trade. But yeah, and then we have the Cleveland Cavaliers. They had a really good season as well. They were like third in the East at one point, but in the end, just too many injuries. They were really good for most of the season, but just Jared Allen got injured, Evan Mobley got injured, and um they kind of fell off. I'd say these last few games, and they're not playing well at all. I mean, they won yesterday, but Giannis, their top players, the Bucks' top players, they didn't win. They didn't play at all. So, um, yeah, I mean the Cavs. They had a good season. Just I have my worries because I don't know if like just their run of form right now just isn't good. Um, and yeah, that just shows how much of an impact Evan Mobley and Jared Allen have on that team. Evan Mobley, as I said, was a Rookie of the Year candidate, and you can use that as an argument for him to be Rookie of the Year because of how much of an impact, and it's showing right now because they're they're struggling. But I don't know if Mobley or Allen are going to be back for this game. I'm not sure. We'll see. But tomorrow when they play, but yeah. Morant was fun to watch. Yeah, I think Morant is like the most entertaining player in the NBA right now. But yeah. And then we have the Timberwolves versus the Clippers. The Timberwolves were a really good team. They have that big three of D'Angelo Russell, Anthony Edwards, who really grew this year. He's averaging 20 plus, and Karl Anthony Towns, who I think is one of the best centers in the NBA. And people are saying he's the best big man shooter of all time. He won the 3-point contest, and I think you can make a case for that. I'm still going with Dirk right at the moment, but yeah, Karl Anthony Towns is such a good shooter. And he really, I think this was one of his best seasons of his career. The Wolves are finally in the playoffs. I know he's been probably waiting. I mean, the last time they got to the playoffs was with Jimmy Butler, I think. So yeah, and they're gonna go against the Clippers, who they have a good roster. I mean, they have Paul George, and they got him back. Obviously, as we know, Kawhi hasn't played at all this year. He'll be back next year, but yeah, Paul George, Reggie Jackson played really well this year. They have Norman Powell, who they traded for. Zubac. Who am I forgetting? I'm forgetting someone, right? I don't know. Wait, let me look at a Clippers roster. Yeah, Norman Powell, Marcus Morris. Yeah, that's who it was. And then Terrence Mann. Yeah, Luke Kennard off the bench. He's such a good shooter. Yeah, sometimes my mind just blinks like that on rosters, but yeah, I think that's a really good roster right there. But I still, yeah, I'm not. Oh, whoops, I'm not gonna. I'll give my predictions after I talk about the teams. But yeah. So those are two good teams there. That's gonna be an entertaining one. Hawks, 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 Hornets. Now, yeah, Trey Young is just so good. I think a lot of people expected the Hawks to be a higher seed, especially after making the Eastern Conference Finals last year. But they weren't as good this year. Trey Young just carried. I mean, he's so good. I mean, I saw him drop like 40. He dropped multiple 40-point games this year. So yeah, I think that's just he's such a good player. And we have the Hornets, LaMelo Ball. Miles Bridges is a candidate for for most improved player. I forgot to mention him, but yeah, Miles Bridges. Terry Rozier is a very underrated player. So I think the Hornets, they definitely are a team to watch out for. I think, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see. They have a good roster, and Gordon Hayward has been confirmed out for this game. I think. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so if the Hornets lose, they're automatically out. So whoever loses in the 9-10 game, you're automatically out. If you lose in the 7-8 game, you have another chance, and you play the winner of the 9-10 game. So, um, yeah, and then we have this is like probably the least entertaining one. Pelicans versus Spurs. I mean the Pelicans made a great trade getting CJ McCollum. They had a really slow start to the season. They didn't play well at all. Zion out. He'll be coming back next year, but CJ McCollum just he really changed. Trade really just changed how they play. He's been really playing well with Brandon Ingram, and I'm really excited to see them both with Zion Williamson next year. I think that could be a threat in the West. Then we have the Spurs led by DeJounte Murray, the first-time All-Star. Keldon Johnson, and those guys played well this year. And it's really a surprise they got into the plan. I haven't even talked about the Lakers in this video, but I mean, we've had enough. We've had enough talking about them, but I guess I kind of have to address that. Just what a disappointing season. They just fired their coach today. Actually, Frank Vogel, they fired him. And yeah, just a very disappointing season. I think that's one of the most disappointing teams in NBA history. Trading for Russell Westbrook. After the season he had last year with the Wizards, he had a great season last year, and then you have Russ, yeah, and then you have Anthony Davis. Got Carmelo Anthony. So they had some good players, and yeah, it just didn't work out. And we'll see next year. Let's see what trades they make. But yeah. So now on to the predictions. We have the Cavs and the Nets. We'll start with that matchup because that's the first matchup, and I'm gonna go with the Nets. I just think the Nets are too good. And the Cavs, they've been struggling. So yeah, I got to go with the Nets. Kevin Durant, you can't ever doubt him. He's one of the best scorers in NBA history, Kyrie Irving, obviously. I think this game is in Brooklyn, so yeah, I have the Nets winning, which means they would go on to play the Boston Celtics, which that's going to be rough for the Celtics. Because I remember last year was the opposite. You know, the Celtics were in the second seed, and I mean the Nets were in the second seed, and the Celtics were in the seventh. So we know what happened. The Nets won 4-1. So I think that's what's going to happen. I don't think the Nets winning is going to happen yet, but I think they'll be facing off against the Celtics. And then we have the Clippers versus the Timberwolves. I'm gonna go with the Timberwolves here as well. So they face off against Ja Morant and the Grizzlies. But yeah, I think the Timberwolves are really good. Anthony Edwards. In order for the Timberwolves to win, I think Anthony Edwards has to play well. Sometimes he will just drop like 5 points, but then the next night he'll drop like 30. So yeah, I think he's inconsistent sometimes, but yeah, I think Anthony Edwards just he's the key right there. D'Angelo Russell, obviously. They have some good players, Jaden McDaniels. So yeah, I think the Wolves win that and they'll face off against the Grizzlies. And then we have the Hawks Hornets. I just have the Hawks winning this. I think Trae Young's just too good. The Hornets have some good players, but Young, I just think he's just too good. And Pelicans Spurs, I have the Pelicans winning this. CJ McCollum and Brandon Ingram. Two great players. So yeah, I have the Pels winning that. Then we'll have then the loser of the 7-8 versus the winner of the 9-10. So this will go from Hawks to Cavs, and on the West it would be Clippers versus Pelicans. So yeah, for this I have on this side it would be Hawks Cavs. I have the Hawks. I think this is you could go either way on this. I don't know. I don't really know. I just think the Hawks have been on such a good run of form recently, with Trae Young carrying them, and just the last month, they were like 12th at one point, and Trae Young just decided to go off. He gets them into the NBA playing tournament, and I don't think he's gonna slow down. And I think with Jared Allen potentially being out and Evan Mobley, they're gonna miss their defense. Without that defense that those two bring to the Cavs, I think Trae Young will kind of expose that. But you could go with the Cavs too. I could see the Cavs getting in as well. But yeah. And then we have the Pelicans versus the Clippers. I just simply have the Clippers winning. Paul George is back. That team does have decent depth, I think. So yeah. Oh yeah. So then if the Hawks do win that game, they'd have to play the Miami Heat. That's a rough game. That's gonna be a tough series. But the Heat, I don't know. We'll see what happens with them. But yeah, I think the Hawks Heat, that would be a very entertaining series. And then here we have Clippers versus Pelicans. I have the Clippers winning. Clippers versus Suns in the first round of the NBA playoffs. This is a rematch of the NBA Western Conference Finals last year. And that was a very entertaining series, as we know. And yeah, Paul George, I just want to see him. I had really fun watching him play in the playoffs last year. Kawhi Leonard went down with the injury, and then Paul George just led the team, got them to the Western Conference Finals. I mean, he's a pretty fun player to watch when he's at his best. So yeah, I'm excited for this NBA playing tournament. And yeah, so like I said, the matchups would be like I said, I have the Nets winning this one. I have versus Timberwolves versus Clippers. I have the Timberwolves. Hawks, Hornets. I have the Hawks. Pelicans, Spurs. I have the Pelicans. And then Hawks versus Cavs. I have the Hawks. And then Pelicans versus Clippers. I have the Clippers winning. And then so yeah, that would mean the Nets would face off against the Celtics. Wolves against Grizzlies. Hawks versus Heat, and then Clippers versus Suns. So yeah, that's pretty much it. It's going to be an entertaining playing tournament. I think the matchup I'm looking forward to the most is Cavs versus Nets, or Timberwolves versus Clippers. I think those are two playoff caliber teams. Some of these teams, I mean, you could say I don't think the Spurs are a playoff team at all. Pelicans, maybe they are, but yeah, I think those are the two games to watch. And yeah, I'm really excited. We'll be back. I think we'll do the play-in reaction in the NBA playoff predictions in one video. So I'll do that like on Friday. I think the playoffs start on Saturday, so that's gonna be really fun to watch. Like I said, last year we did the we did the bracket. We did the bracket with the NBA playoffs last year. So we'll do that again, and let's see how good we can do this year. We didn't do good last year, so yeah, we'll be doing that on Friday, I guess. yeah, thank you guys for watching. Yeah, stay tuned. I'll see you guys in the next video.